A Christmas exclusion. When family secrets shatter holiday cheer. Christmas had always been a sacred tradition in my family. Every year, no matter what challenges life threw our way, we gathered together, sharing food, gifts, and laughter. It was an unbreakable ritual. That's why I was so surprised when my sister Olivia told me she wasn't hosting this year. "It's just been a stressful year," she said over the phone. "I think I just need a quiet Christmas, no big gathering, no drama. I hope you understand." Of course I understood. Everyone has their limits. And if she needed a break, that was fine. But that didn't lessen the pang I felt in my chest. Christmas wasn't just some event to me. It was precious time with family. Time I looked forward to all year long. Still, I told myself not to make a big deal out of it. Maybe we'd all just celebrate separately this time. It wasn't ideal, but things change. Then, on Christmas Eve, something happened that made my stomach drop. I was scrolling through Instagram, trying to distract myself from the holiday blues, when I saw something that made my heart race. A familiar living room, a long dinner table covered in food, laughter, faces I knew all too well, and my entire family at Olivia's house, celebrating Christmas without me. Just as I was staring at the screen, trying to process what I was seeing, my phone lit up with a new message. It was from Olivia. "Merry Christmas, Sarah." I just sat there, staring at those two words, my hands gripping my phone so tightly it almost hurt. My heart was pounding. What was I supposed to do? Should I respond? Should I ask her about it? Or should I just pretend I never saw it? But before I could decide, another notification popped up. Someone had just posted a new story, and this time it wasn't Olivia. It was my cousin. And what I saw next changed everything. I hesitated for a moment before tapping on my cousin's story. My chest felt tight and I wasn't sure if I even wanted to see more, but my curiosity, no. My need to understand, won out. The video started with my cousin laughing as she zoomed in on a ridiculous Christmas sweater my uncle was wearing. People were clapping, glasses clinking. Then the camera panned around the room. There was my mom helping herself to another slice of pie, my dad deep in conversation with my uncle, my aunts, uncles, cousins. All of them were there. Standing at the head of the table, laughing and raising her glass for a toast, was Olivia. I felt my stomach churn. It wasn't just a small get-together. This was our family Christmas. The one we always had, the one I had been told wasn't happening, and I wasn't there. I swallowed hard, my thumb hovering over the screen. Was this a mistake? A misunderstanding? Maybe she had changed her mind at the last minute? No, that didn't make sense. This wasn't a casual last-minute thing. The decorations, the food, the matching pajamas some of them were wearing. This had been planned. Planned without me. My phone buzzed again. Another message, this time from Mom. "Merry Christmas, sweetheart. Hope you're having a great night, Sarah." I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. My hands were shaking. What was I supposed to say? Should I confront them? Should I pretend I didn't know? A million thoughts were running through my head. But only one question really mattered. Why? Why had they lied to me? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I had to find out. I stared at my screen, my mind racing. My family, my own family, had lied to me. They hadn't just forgotten to invite me, they had actively excluded me. And now they were texting me like everything was normal. I took a deep breath and decided I couldn't just sit there stewing in my own thoughts. I needed answers. So, I did something I hadn't planned to do. I called my mom. The phone rang once, twice. Then on the third ring she picked up.
Sweetheart.
"Merry Christmas," she said, her voice warm and cheerful, like she hadn't just been caught red-handed. I hesitated for a second, trying to keep my voice steady. "Hey Mom. Merry Christmas. What are you up to?" "Oh, just relaxing at home, nothing much," she said casually. "Did you eat something nice tonight?" I clenched my jaw. Relaxing at home. That was a lie. I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Yeah, just something simple. You sure you're at home?" There was a small pause just for a second. Then she laughed nervously. "Of course. Where else would I be?" I felt like my stomach had dropped to the floor. She was still lying. I bit my lip, trying to stay calm. That's weird. Because I just saw Olivia's Instagram story. Silence. Not just a pause, but full heavy silence. Then she finally spoke, her voice lower this time. Oh, you saw that? I could hear the guilt creeping into her tone, but I wasn't going to let her off that easy. Yeah, I saw all of it. The dinner, the family, everyone was there. My voice cracked slightly. Except me. Another silence. Then she sighed. Honey, it's not what you think. I scoffed. It looks like my entire family got together and decided not to invite me. Honey, we just dashed, she started, but I wasn't done. I need you to tell me the truth, I said, my voice firm now. Why wasn't I invited? What she said next made my blood run cold. Mom sighed again. But this time it was different. It wasn't just hesitation, it was guilt. Sweetheart, she started, her voice softer now. We didn't think you'd want to come. I blinked. My grip on the phone tightened. What? We figured you'd be busy. You always say the holidays stress you out. Last year you left early, because you weren't feeling well. And the year before that you seemed overwhelmed. So Olivia thought, we all thought, maybe it would be best if we kept things small this year. No pressure, no stress. I sat there stunned. I almost laughed. No stress. I repeated, shaking my head. So instead of asking me, instead of letting me decide for myself, you just what? Cut me out? Lied to me. It wasn't like that. She said quickly. We just didn't want you to feel obligated. I let out a sharp breath. Obligated? So let me get this straight, I said, my voice shaking now. You didn't want me to feel obligated to come, but instead of telling me the truth, you let me sit alone on Christmas while the entire family celebrated without me? Honey, no. Mom. I felt tears burning behind my eyes. You didn't think I'd want to come? Have I ever said I didn't want to spend Christmas with my family? She didn't answer, because we both knew the truth. I had never said that, not once. The silence stretched between us, and for the first time, I realized something that hurt more than anything else. They hadn't forgotten me, they had made a choice. A choice where I wasn't included, a choice where I didn't matter. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Mom, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. If I hadn't seen those Instagram stories, would anyone have even told me? She didn't answer right away, and that hesitation, that tiny second of silence, told me everything. Then she finally said, we didn't want to hurt your feelings. I let out a bitter laugh. Well, congratulations, you did anyway. I could hear her inhale sharply like she wanted to say something else, to explain, to fix it, but I was done. I had heard enough. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas, Mom, I said, my voice flat. I won't bother you again. And before she could respond, I hung up. I set my phone down on the table, my hands still shaking. I felt sick, hurt, alone. And yet, a part of me knew this wasn't over, because I still had one more person I needed to hear from, Olivia. And this time, I wasn't going to let her lie to me. I took a deep breath, staring at Olivia's last text. Merry Christmas, Sarah. Like it was some kind of joke. She had the nerve to send that while she was literally hosting the family Christmas I was excluded from. I wasn't going to let this slide. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as a dozen messages ran through my mind. Should I be direct? Should I play dumb and see what she says? Should I just call her and force her to explain? Finally, I settled on something simple. So you're at home, right? Having a quiet Christmas. I saw the 3 little dots pop up immediately. Then they disappeared. Then they came back. Then they disappeared again. She was hesitating. Guilt. Panic. I didn't know. But after a minute, my phone finally buzzed. Olivia texted. Look, I'm really sorry. I was going to tell you, I swear. I felt my jaw clench. Going to tell me? I didn't even bother to type. I just hit call. She picked up after the second ring. Hey, I repeated, my voice cold. That's all you have to say? She sighed. I know you're upset, but it's not what you think. I almost laughed. Oh, really? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like my entire family is at your house, having Christmas without me, after you told me you weren't hosting anyone. There was a long pause. Then finally she muttered, Mom told you, didn't she? I nearly dropped the phone. So she knew. This wasn't some accident. She wasn't caught off guard. She already knew why I was calling. I swallowed the lump in my throat. So you admit it? I said quietly. She hesitated. Look. I didn't mean to hurt you, okay? It's complicated. I scoffed. It's really not. Either you wanted me there or you didn't. So which is it? More silence. And then finally she spoke. Her voice was low, almost guilty. I thought it would be easier this way. My stomach dropped. Easier for who? She didn't answer. And that's when I realized the truth. This wasn't just about Christmas. This was something bigger, something they weren't telling me. And I wasn't going to stop until I found out what it was. I gripped my phone tighter. Easier this way? What the hell does that even mean? I took a slow breath, trying to keep my voice steady. Olivia, I said, forcing calm into my tone. You need to tell me the truth. Why wasn't I invited? She hesitated. I could hear her breathing through the phone, and for a moment, I thought she might actually come clean. Then she said, I didn't want there to be any drama. I blinked. My fingers curled into a fist. Drama? What drama? Olivia sighed like she was exhausted, like I was the problem. Look, you know how things have been lately. Ever since the whole thing with you and Dad. I stiffened. A wave of anger and disbelief surged through me. Are you serious? That was over a year ago. I know, she said quickly. But it's still tense. You two barely talk. And whenever you do, it turns into a fight. We just wanted a peaceful Christmas. I let out a hollow laugh. Right. A peaceful Christmas. And the only way to get that was to cut me out. She didn't answer because we both knew the truth. This wasn't about drama. This wasn't about keeping the peace. They had made a choice. And in that choice I was the problem. I swallowed hard. You could have just talked to me, I said, my voice quieter now. You could have told me you were hosting. You could have let me decide how to handle it. Instead, you all just pretended I didn't exist. Olivia sighed again. It's not like that. Then what is it like? I snapped. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like my whole family would rather lie to me than deal with my existence. That's not fair, she muttered. I let out another bitter laugh. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this hard for you? Silenced. I exhaled sharply, shaking my head. You know what? Forget it. Enjoy your quiet Christmas. I hung up before she could respond. For the first time that night, I felt something shift inside me. I wasn't sad anymore, I was done. But as I stared at my phone, another thought crept into my mind. If they wanted me out of the picture so badly, maybe I should give them exactly what they wanted. I sat there, my phone still in my hand, my heart pounding. They didn't want me there? Fine. They wanted a quiet Christmas without me? Fine. But this wasn't just about Christmas. It was about how little I mattered to them. About how easily they decided I wasn't worth an invitation. And if that's how they felt, maybe it was time I stopped trying. My fingers hovered over the screen as I scrolled through my messages. My family group chat was still active. Someone had just sent another picture of everyone laughing around the dinner table. My stomach twisted. I clicked on it, held down my name at the top, and pressed leave group. A tiny confirmation popped up. Are you sure you want to leave? I stared at it for a moment. Then without hesitation I tapped yes. I expected it to hurt. It didn't. I tossed my phone onto the table and leaned back. My apartment was quiet, too quiet. A few wrapped gifts still sat in the corner, the ones I had planned to bring to Olivia's. I thought about throwing them out. Instead, I grabbed my coat. If my family didn't want me around, I wasn't going to sit here and wallow in it. I was going to make my own Christmas. I stepped outside, the cold air hitting my face as I started walking with no real destination in mind. The streets were mostly empty. Most people were with their families, gathered around fireplaces, laughing, celebrating. And yet, as I walked, something inside me felt lighter. For once, I wasn't waiting for their approval. I wasn't hoping for some last-minute apology or invitation. I was done chasing people who didn't want me around. Just as I started to feel okay, maybe even free, my phone buzzed then again and again. I pulled it out, and my stomach flipped. 20 missed calls, dozens of texts, and all from the same person, Olivia. And her last message, please pick up. It's Dad. Something happened. My breath caught in my throat. I stared at the message, my mind racing. Something happened to Dad? A million thoughts ran through my head. Was it an accident? A heart attack? Something worse? For a brief moment, anger flickered inside me. After everything, now they needed me? But it was drowned out by something stronger, fear. Without thinking, I pressed call. Olivia picked up instantly. "Oh my God, Sarah, finally." Her voice was frantic. "I've been trying to reach you." "What happened?" I cut in my chest tight. She took a shaky breath. "Yeah? He collapsed right in the middle of dinner. 1 second he was fine and then he just dashed," she sniffled. "The ambulance came. They took him to the hospital. Mom's with him now." My head was spinning. Dad collapsed? For all my anger, for all the resentment I felt toward my family, nothing could have prepared me for this. I swallowed hard. "Is he?" "They don't know yet," she whispered. "They're running tests. But please, can you come?" I hesitated. After everything tonight, after the lies, the exclusion, the betrayal, now they wanted me there? But this wasn't about them. This was about Dad. And no matter what happened between us, he was still my father. And if something was really wrong, I couldn't just ignore it. I exhaled sharply. "I'm on my way." I barely remembered getting into my car, barely noticed the Christmas lights glowing in the windows as I sped toward the hospital. All I could think about was the last conversation I'd had with Dad. It had been months ago, a fight, a stupid, heated argument where we both said things we shouldn't have. And now, as I raced through the empty streets, one thought kept pounding in my head. What if that was the last time we spoke? I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my heart hammering in my chest. The streets were eerily quiet. Christmas lights flickered in windows, wreaths hung on doors, but all I could hear was the blood rushing in my ears. I should have called him. I should have tried harder. What if I was too late? As I pulled into the hospital parking lot, I barely remembered turning off the engine before rushing inside. The harsh fluorescent lights made everything feel colder, more sterile. At the front desk, a tired-looking nurse glanced up. "Can I help you?" "My dad. He was brought in a little while ago. He collapsed. His name is Robert Miller." My voice was uneven, and I hated how desperate I sounded. She nodded, typing something into the computer. "He's in the ER. Your family is already back there." My family. The people who had pretended I didn't exist hours ago. I took a slow breath and forced myself forward. The automatic doors slid open and the first person I saw was my mom. She looked up, her face pale and drawn, her eyes red from crying. When she saw me, something flickered in her expression. Surprise, guilt, relief, all mixed together. "You came," she whispered. "Of course I did." My voice was flat. She hesitated, like she wanted to say something else, but before she could, Olivia stood up from her seat and walked toward me. Her face was tear-streaked, but there was no trace of the cold indifference she'd had over the phone. Instead, she looked scared. "They're still running tests," she said softly, "but it doesn't look good." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I glanced past her toward the closed curtain at the end of the hall. Behind it, Dad was lying there. And I had no idea if I'd ever get to speak to him again. I swallowed hard, my hands clenched at my sides. Then I squared my shoulders. Whatever had happened tonight, whatever my family had done, it didn't matter right now. Right now I had to face what was behind that curtain, and I had no idea if I was ready. I took one last breath, steeling myself before walking toward the closed curtain. Olivia and my mom were behind me, lingering in the hallway, too unsure to say anything. The weight of the silence pressed down on us, thick and heavy. When I pushed the curtain aside, I saw him. Dad was propped up in a hospital bed, a heart monitor beeping steadily beside him. His face was pale, but his eyes were open. Open, and he was okay. Relief flooded through me in a rush, like a dam breaking. His lips curved into a weak but genuine smile. "Well, look who decided to show up," he joked, his voice raspy but familiar. I felt a surge of warmth in my chest. He was okay. He was alive. I walked over to his bedside, my legs shaky. "Dad," I whispered, sitting on the edge of the bed. "I'm fine, kiddo. They think it was just a scare, something with my blood pressure." He grinned. "But the real question is, where were you? Olivia said you weren't coming." I felt the words catch in my throat. How could I even explain the mess of emotions? The anger I'd felt earlier, the hurt, the frustration. But I wasn't here to hash it out with him. I needed to talk to the others, and I wasn't going to let them off the hook so easily. I turned toward the hallway, taking a deep breath before stepping back out. My eyes landed on my mom and Olivia. The guilt was written all over their faces, but no more running. I stepped toward them, folding my arms across my chest. "I need to talk to you both," I said, my voice steady but sharp. Olivia opened her mouth to speak, but I held up my hand.
No.
"I need you to listen." Their eyes widened, and I could see the tension in their shoulders. "Do you both have any idea how hurt I was tonight?" I asked, my voice shaking with a mixture of disbelief and anger. "You both treated me like I didn't exist, like I wasn't even a part of the family anymore. What the hell was that about?" Mom's eyes welled with tears, but she didn't speak. Olivia shifted uncomfortably. "It wasn't like that. We didn't mean to." "Then why didn't you just tell me?" I cut her off. "Why didn't anyone just tell me you were having Christmas without me? Why did I have to find out through Instagram?" Olivia's face flushed and she bit her lip. "We didn't think it would be a big deal. We thought you'd be upset. So you thought it would be easier to lie to me?" I shot back. "I'm your sister, your daughter. I deserve to know what's going on. You can't just leave me out of everything and expect it to be okay." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Mom finally stepped forward. Her voice soft and filled with regret. "We were trying to protect you from the tension between you and your father. It's been so hard for all of us. We thought it would be better if we just kept things calm." "By excluding me?" I asked, my voice rising now. "You think that's the solution? That's how you protect me? By pretending I'm not even part of the family?" I could see the weight of my words sinking in, their expressions slowly changing, guilt overtaking their initial defensiveness. Olivia's eyes were filled with tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I never should have made that decision without talking to you. It wasn't right. We should have told you about the dinner." "Yeah, you should have," I nodded slowly. "I deserve to be a part of this family. And I need you both to stop treating me like I'm a problem. We're supposed to be a team." Mom reached out, placing a hand on my arm. "You're right. We messed up, and I'm so sorry for shutting you out. I don't know what we were thinking." I took a deep breath, calming myself. It was hard to stay mad at them when they were this genuine, when they could admit their mistakes. "But you need to know," I said quietly. "I can't keep doing this. I can't keep pretending everything's fine when we're not being honest with each other." They nodded, silent for a long moment. We all stood there, taking in what had been said. Then Dad's voice echoed from behind the curtain, breaking the tension. Okay. Enough with the emotional stuff. You're all going to drive me crazy before I even get out of here." We all chuckled, and for the first time in a long while, it felt like maybe, just maybe, we were finally on the same page again. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. So what do you think? Can you relate to feeling left out? Or have you ever had a situation where family drama just seemed to spiral out of control? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this family can come back from this? Or is the damage done? If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. There's always more drama, more stories, and more lessons to be learned here. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a good story that you can truly connect with like this? So go ahead, hit subscribe. You won't regret it. We've got plenty more stories like this coming your way.